XXXTENTACION, the SoundCloud rapper, the depressed rapper, the rapper that mumbles in his music, the guy that always screams in his songs, the guy that made Look At Me, Young Dagger. X throughout his whole career has always been polarizing, whether it was his looks, his aesthetic, his violent past, his name, and of course his music. And you could possibly make an argument that the peak of it was on his debut commercial album 17, which was a major shift in X's career sonically and musically, not only changing his ideal sound from screamo and heavy distortion in the 808s, but also his lifestyle and image around the release of the album, with him telling his day one fans that 17 will be far different from any other music that they're used to. If you listen to me to get hype or not to think, don't buy this album. This one's for depression, for the depressed ones, for the lost ones. Clearly letting people know that he will be taking his debut album serious, not necessarily for the hardcore fans, but the fans that he felt like that were lost in the world. A big reason why X had a cult fan base and was loved the way that he was cause he made himself vulnerable and formed a personal connection to his fans, unlike most of his peers who care more about being viral for the moment. And don't get me wrong, X would have his moments where he would do viral stuff to get talked about for that particular day, but the difference was that X would mix it up with an introspective positive message, and his music overall just had more meaning and diversity to it. And with 17, he really wanted to double down and have some cohesion on his project, with him wanting this album to be more so a feeling more than anything. My music is created to help people that are depressed. If you're not depressed or has never been depressed, my music is not for you. Now on August 25th, 2017, the album will be officially released, with it receiving a lot of positive reviews not only from fans but his naysayers too, with Kendrick Lamar even giving the album a shout out, with him saying, "Listen to this album if you feel anything, raw thoughts," and he will follow up saying, "Fifth listen." Even somebody like Joe Budden would praise the album and have high regards for the project, with him even saying that he was emotional listening to it. And just like many other people, if he wasn't really a big listener of X, this album 17 by far was an unexpected sound you would hear from him, and it made you respect X's craft and artistic ability, not just as a SoundCloud rapper, but as a true artist who had the potential to be a force in the future.
He has separated himself from the new class.
X.
Yes. Put that album on in Turks and I looked up and my girl starts crying. Immediately. We on vacation in the balcony, we looking at water, she's crying. She's lost a brother to suicide. I know that that is heavy for her, it's heavy for me. So to hear words connect. I heard melodies I didn't think I would get from him. I heard a singing voice that I didn't know was
very, yes,
it was very clear, it was very audible. I understood every word. Very short project, but he got to his point. He got to his point rather quickly and effectively.
Even though the 17 album was gaining a lot of traction and was going viral for how much X changed his sound on this project, oddly enough, the production and back vocals is what really got a lot of people's attention, with this mysterious person being featured on Everybody Dies in Their Nightmares, Carry On, and of course Jocelyn Flores. With fans doing a lot of digging and research, they would find out who the person was behind his mysterious voice. And in fact, it would be another fellow SoundCloud artist named Shiloh Dynasty, whose mysterious mystique compares to no other, and in fact, it probably made her more famous, due to people coming up with theories about her, debating whether she's a boy or girl, or is she still alive or not, and why she disappeared. The last time that she would be socially active was on September 2016, which was about a year prior to the debut release of X's 17 project. Now X would reveal that he got her permission to use her vocals and would talk to her behind the scenes, which he would be the reason why a lot of people now know her to be a female.
I honestly respect Shiloh as an artist because her words are just pure emotion and she just writes about emotion.
But ever since her last post in 2016, it's been dead silent on her end, and more than likely we'll probably never hear nothing from her ever again. But despite that, her song still racks up millions of views, hundreds and hundreds of fan pages created after her, and so many other people faking to be her just to get clout, and I don't think her name will die down anytime soon. Now this album's most controversial track will be the second song called Jocelyn Flores, who was a teen girl that committed suicide, who was supposed to meet up with X for this photo shoot for his clothing brand, but it would never happen due to her being accused of stealing from him, and X telling her and the other girl that he didn't want them to be there anymore, so he would send them back to a hotel and buy their tickets to fly them home, where later that same night Jocelyn Flores will lock herself in the bathroom, and that would be her final moments. Once X found out about this, he would have a lot of remorse and guilt for the whole situation, and it really gave him some insight on how real depression is.
There was this girl that
had basically flew down here. Well, I flew her down here to model pretty much, and great girl, beautiful girl, wonderful personality, showed no signs of depression whatsoever. She, in a way unexplained, she killed herself when she came down here, and I mean, it was a devastating situation to deal with.
More than anything, I feel like she was the inspiration for this whole 17 album that X made. Cause in the blink of an eye, somebody could be here for one moment, then go on the next, not knowing what people are going through in their head and how they cope with it. X would even drop a song dedicated to her and his friend Garrett, who was also going through depression. The song will be called Garrett's Revenge, which was also on the 17 album, but it was just called Revenge. And in the caption of the song on SoundCloud, X would write, "I love you, Garrett. Rest in peace, Jocelyn. I will have my revenge upon the world." Not only did Shiloh Dynasty really benefit from the release of 17, but also another artist out of Canton, Ohio named Trippie, who was the only credited feature on this project, with him too being more thin to the same music genre as X when it came to his diversity. And though Trippie was building up his name in the music industry, he still wasn't solidified or a household name like X was. But with the track F Love being on this album, it would change Trippie's career forever, with it becoming a fan favorite of both of the artists' catalogs, and would go on to be certified 8 times platinum, with a racking up over 1 billion streams on Spotify, and at one point becoming the most streamed SoundCloud song ever. And when you think of the track F Love, it's almost like that it's an essential song for the emo rap genre as a whole, and a great moment of this SoundCloud generation. The last track on the 17 album has a major significance to it that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about to this day. The last track is titled after his ex-girlfriend Geneva Ayala, who was the same girl who accused him of abusing her.
My whole life is just tainted just because I dated a nigga who beat the fuck out of me.
This accusation right here, true or false, really tainted X's legacy, with a lot of big media corporations paying him in a bad light, and even music streaming services like Spotify would blackball him off the playlist. X indirectly would reveal how he feel about her, with him having regrets of her being involved in his life, and talking about how she showed him fake love that he could never forget. I say this track is very important because I feel like X on this song is just as vulnerable as he was on Jocelyn Flores, with the only difference is that one person is alive to hear the song and the other person is not. But both of these songs still having traumatic backstories to them, whether it shows X in a positive or negative light. This album will go on to debut at number 2 on the Billboard 200s, with it selling over 90K in the first week on Empire, which is extremely good. Also considering that he dropped the same day as Lil Uzi, who just came off an EXO Tour Life song, and he signed to Atlantic, so it really showed to a lot of fans who the real leaders of the new school was, and showed to other people too that these SoundCloud artists could really sell music, not just BS hit songs that labels will force down your throat, but authenticity and real art that a lot of these new school rappers are lacking. Now don't get me wrong, a few people did get on X on how short the project was, cause it was only 21 minutes long with 10 tracks, and the first track just being a 30-second intro and no song on there being over 3 minutes long. But I feel like X purposely did that to get his point across, but not for the music to be long overdrawn. He wanted people to capture that feeling that reaches the climax in the song, then end it, which in a way is pretty smart so people would keep coming back. But overall, in my opinion, X accomplished what he set out to do, and that was really to capture an audience that felt like they was lost in the world and needed a voice of reason to connect to, not just from an artist to a fan level, but from a person that was going through depression to another person that was going through depression. And X really filled in the void for a lot of people who really needed him at that time. But these are my thoughts and opinions on this whole 17 album, and why I feel like it helped redefine X's career, not just from a commercial sense, but his whole brand overall. But y'all let me know down below how y'all feel about the album 17, and do it still get some spins from you still to this day, or the album was really good for a moment at a time in your life when you really was depressed, but now that you changed a lot since then, you really don't play it that much anymore. Y'all let me know down below. Be sure to like the video, comment, share, subscribe. Have a nice day.